Well, nothing reflects our cultural heritage as much as our food. And we can trace the roots of our traditional cooking to the ancient Puebloans and the Spanish colonists and Easterners who actually settled in the West. And these influences all melded together to produce a cuisine that inspires pride and passion among New Mexicans. And Tasting New Mexico honors the state's culinary legacy with 100 recipes to celebrate 100 years of distinctive home cooking. Santa Fe authors and husband and wife team, that's a good way to do it, Cheryl authors Jamison and Bill Jamison have more than 15 years of food and travel publications to their credit, and they join us today with the details about Tasting New Mexico. Good morning.
Hi, Good morning, Nikki.
Thank you for being here. The food, you know, you speak my language. Food. So what's
everybody's language?
Really, I mean, and there's a lot of cookbooks out there, but what sets yours apart from all the others?
Well, all of our cookbooks, you know, we've written 15 of them,
Yeah.
and they focus very intensely on a particular subject, and we get into the context of the food, the culture, and the history. And that's true of Tasting New Mexico.
Well, why did you decide to write Tasting New Mexico in the first place?
Well, we think that it is such a unique and special cuisine that we have here. We know that, don't we?
Exactly, for sure.
But a lot of people don't really appreciate that it grew from different roots than other sort of Tex-Mex foods, Northern Mexican cooking.
Right.
It really, you know, it came as an outgrowth of the indigenous culture that was here, the Puebloans, you know, melded with the Spanish heritage too, and a little Anglo influence on top of that.
Yes.
But it all came together in a very special way because it was so isolated here until recently.
Yeah. Well, you know, like you said, there's so many different cultures, so many different people. So how did you compile all these recipes and these photos? I mean, they're beautiful for the book. How did you come up with which ones you were going to do?
We traveled all around the state. We talked to cooks everywhere.
Yeah.
Ate in Main Street cafes.
Nice.
And we read a lot too.
That's a good research project right there.
Old cookbooks, history books.
Well,
We talked to lots of people, and of course tested recipes, and
Right.
you know, decided which versions of which things we thought really had, you know, the fullest, robust flavor. That's the character of New Mexican food.
Absolutely. So this is where I'm a little bit confused, because I know there are so many different kinds of New Mexican food. There's so many. They vary, you know, from Tex-Mex, then you also have Arizona Mex, and then you have other forms of, you know, cooking all along the border of Mexico. So how do you make the decisions, and how do you differentiate the distinctions?
Well, the New Mexican food developed independently of all of those other traditions. It was very isolated in the colonial era, and the ingredients were limited. Chili was very important, and it became the basis of New Mexican cooking. You find it in Tex-Mex, you find it in Sonoran food in Arizona, but not to the extent of New Mexico.
Not like here. And I want to mention to our viewers that actually they're launching the book this Sunday. So what are the details of the launch party? And I know you're also doing a book signing, which is great.
Yes, at 2 o'clock on Sunday, just a couple of days from now, we're going to be at the New Mexico History Museum, which is in Santa Fe.
Nice.
And it's at 114 Lincoln Street.
Okay.
It's just behind the plaza and the Palace of Governors there.
Very easy to find.
Yes, and at 2 o'clock we're going to do a little show and tell, a little slideshow, fun pictures of kind of how we went about this, and some of the wonderful shots that Sharon Stewart did, the contemporary things, as well as the historical photos, but in a fun, short way. And then after that, we're going to sign books, and we're going to eat. And the Shed, one of Santa Fe's and one of New Mexico's just most wonderful restaurants, is providing all kinds of New Mexico nibbles for everyone.
Yeah, you can't show those photos and not have some food after. You'll definitely whet the appetites. In fact, you're doing that for me right now. So in our second half hour, you'll be cooking. What are you making for us?
We're making sopa de albondigas.
Albondigas. I love it. I love it. It's delicious.
Meatballs.
Well, meatballs, you know, that's the easy way to say it, but I like saying albondigas. It sounds so much more formal. Thank you both so much for the history lesson, and we're looking forward to cooking and eating in a little while. In the meantime, coming up on New Mexico Style, another New Mexico tradition that's built for tough. You don't want to miss it.